Hello YouTube, Sidekick here with another installment of the Iron Bomber's Guide to the Galaxy. Today we're taking a look at the new kid on the block, the iron bombing block anyways, the A-29B Super Tucano. Specifically, we're going to look at the latest version of the free community A-29B Mod that is under development. It's still fairly early in development, but it's already a beautiful aircraft and it's a lot of fun to fly. So today we're going to take a look at the A-29B itself, its development and service history, and then we'll talk a little bit about the systems that are modeled in the current mod and how you can use it as an iron bomber. And then we'll head out to the range and have a go at dropping some bombs. So let's get started. The Embraer A-29B Super Tucano is the successor to the EMB 312 Tucano, developed in the early 1980s by Embraer of Brazil to fill the role of a basic flight training aircraft in Brazil and in the export market. That design was also used by some operators as a reconnaissance and a counterinsurgency light attack aircraft. So Embraer built on this experience to develop the EMB 314, which eventually became the A-29 Super Tucano. With the addition of a new, more powerful Pratt & Whitney Canada PT6 turbine engine, a more robust airframe, increased payload capacity, and increased protection and countermeasures, as well as a full glass cockpit and a new mission avionics package. The Super Tucano is capable of carrying a wide variety of ordnance, including unguided rockets and bombs, cluster bombs, and precision-guided munitions. The Super Tucano is currently in service in several South and Central American countries, including Brazil, Chile, and Colombia. It's also in service around the world in a variety of countries, including Indonesia and Afghanistan. The community version in DCS made its public debut about a month or so ago. It's currently still at a fairly early stage, but it is very flyable and has a more or less fully functional glass cockpit and a functioning HUD, as well as a solid simple flight model. It's capable of carrying a wide variety of weapons, including 2.75-inch rockets, Mark 82 bombs, and a couple of different cluster bombs. The HUD supports CCIP mode for rockets and bombs. In the latest upgrade, I believe CCRP was actually added as well, although I haven't had a chance to test that yet. The latest version of the store's management page includes support not only for dropping single and pairs, but also dropping ripples of bombs. In DCS, it's a high-performance turboprop, and I gotta say, I really love the sound of the engine. It's agile and quick and has plenty of power to climb easily and to accelerate to its maximum speed of 375 knots or so. It's smooth handling, and I particularly enjoy how well behaved it is at low speeds. Overall, it's an excellent addition to the DCS iron bombing family, and it'll provide lots of scope for some very interesting mission scenarios. Today, we're just going to take it out and drop a few bombs on the range. So, let's get started. Okay, here we are on the ramp with our fancy RCAF livery Super Tucano. Really love this livery. Of course, the RCAF does not fly the Super Tucano, but one can breathe. So we're just going to taxi out to the runway here. We're going to go out to the No Mods iron bombing range that we introduced a couple of videos back. So if you do want to try the Super Tucano out, there's a link where to find the latest release. I'm not even sure that by the time you watch this video that this will be the latest release, because they are working on it all the time. But you can find the latest release at the link. It is free, so you can combine it with the No Mods iron bombing test range and actually not have to own any paid pieces of DCS whatsoever if that is what you want to do. Alright, we're getting ourselves lined up on the runway here. As I said earlier in the video, I just love the sound of this engine. It really does sound like a turboprop. And if you have flown on just about any small commercial turboprop, you have probably heard a PT6 engine. It's one of the most widely used engines in the world. So This certainly reminds me of that sound. Right, just checking our trim here. And make sure we're all set. Flaps down. Trim set. And let's spool her up and take off. Okay, and we're off down the runway. One of the other things I find about the aircraft is, of all the aircraft in DCS, it is maybe one of the most steerable with the rudder pedals. I don't know what it is about the nose wheel steering on this particular airplane, but it's very easy to guide even on a takeoff. As I said, I really find the flight characteristics very pleasant. Some of that may be because it is still a simple flight model, which does tend to be a little bit more solid. But I also just think it's a very nice flying aircraft. And like I said, its low-speed handling is particularly pleasant. Especially if you're coming from something like the A4 Delta Wing jet, not renowned for their low-speed handling characteristics. All right, so if we take a look at the HUD, we can actually see that in nav mode, we've got a little bug there. It's a diamond with a cross through it in the top left-hand corner, and that just tells us that the waypoint was off-screen. Now we've turned, and the waypoint is on screen there. And then the waypoint's just over the range. So now that we're heading in the right direction, we can get ourselves fenced in here, put it in air-to-ground mode, and we have to turn the switch to live, and eventually we're also going to have to put the master switch on. Our Mark 82 selected, and we got them set to pairs. It's a very simple stores management page, very easy to use. I said the HUD is very simple and clean. Tell where the waypoint is, tell where we got to go. Okay, I think we're not over the built-up areas anymore, so we're going to put the master arm on. We're also going to put the hit the radar altimeter mode, because that gives us our CCIP pipper, or at least it puts the CCIP in radar mode, which is supposed to be more accurate. So as you can see, the glass cockpit is just beautiful. Very easy to read. And it's a really nice looking aircraft as well. So today we have a total of 5 Mark 82s. We'll drop 2 pairs and then a single on the iron bombing test range out here. Not going to do anything fancy, just some CCIP drops. Bear off a little to the right here so we can fly along the back of the range. Not going to do our sort of standard trim run over the range, but I will do a little bit of a trim run here, just so I get put the nose down and open the throttle all the way up, just to get a feeling for what our full power trim is going to be, so we can get that set before we try to do a bombing run. Okay, so nose down, throttle full open, just trim it so that it wants to stay there. You don't have to be pulling on the stick. But you will notice it's nice. We got a kind of a center of display cross, as well as a flight path vector, which is going to be useful when we do bombing. That cross gives us a nice thing to line up on the target and then put on our aim off mark. And as you'll see, we can use the standard iron bombing procedure, which, if you haven't watched my other videos, is basically we'll roll in, then we'll put the lift vector, so that means the top of the cockpit, on the target, and we'll pull up until we get the cross around the target as we roll out. Then we're going to put the cross just beyond the target in our what we call our aim off mark, and then we're just going to try and hold it there, and we're going to wait for the CCI pipper to work its way up to the target, And then we're going to pickle as it crosses the target. So you can see it's nice, lots of visibility out of the cockpit. It's really easy to go around the target, keep it in view. You can actually get in nice and tight to the target if you want to. We're not going to get too tight. We're going to do about a 30-degree dive here, I think. Just about there. So roll in. A nice center line on the top of the cockpit actually helps too. Going up. Roll it out, get the cross coming up through the target. Pick a spot beyond the target. And we're just going to let it settle there and then watch the pipper come up and pick. Okay, so those dropped a little short, and I have to tell you that has been my experience with the CCIP system. Not exactly sure why. It does seem to be pretty consistent, about 25 to 30 meters short, at least on a shallow dive. I assume that it's just one of the things that the developers need to work out. It's not really a big limitation at this point. We can take that into account. So we'll just fly the next one. We'll just offset our aim point a little bit. Go coming around the target again. As you can see, it had no trouble at all getting back to altitude. So we'll just keep pulling up and going around. Let's go over to one of the smaller targets this time. And this time, basically, those are basically 25-meter targets. So we'll just aim at the far side and see if we can get closer to the middle of the target. So I have to say that I think there's something about dropping bombs in the midwinter in a plane with RCAF livery that just feels apropos to me as well, but, you know. All right, time to roll in again. Here we go, top of the cockpit. Pull up that X, try to rotate it around on the target. We're looking at the second target. Pick a spot beyond the target now. And let it walk up. And wait till it gets to the far side. Pickle. Alright, well that was pretty well calibrated. That was good, so let's do one more. We got one more bomb left. Let's see if we can hit one of those buildings in the middle target. Our remaining bomb. Once again, you can see it's really easy to gain altitude. I find the controls very smooth. I have a little bit of curvature programmed into my stick because I usually do that, but it doesn't need a whole lot. It is also pretty responsive to the rudder. You may need a little bit of curvature on the rudder. But like I said, on the ground, it's very well behaved in terms of steering. The nose. Not sure what else to tell you. It's a lot of fun to fly. It's a sporty little aircraft. The developers are adding capabilities all the time, so you should keep checking in because the mod is definitely moving forward. As I said, it's a lot of fun to fly, and it looks great right now. I'm looking forward to seeing all of the wrinkles get ironed out. And I'm also looking forward to maybe trying to figure out how to make some missions with this aircraft, because I think there's a lot of scope for some interesting things to do. Okay, we're coming around. I think we'll take the nearest building. We'll just have to think a little offset, about a 25-meter offset. Down here. Get ourselves, pull out, get that X, moving up to the target. Beyond the target. Okay, I think I'm going to take about the edge of the shadow is probably about where I want to pickle. Just holding it steady, and right about there. nice. All right, well, let's just go up here and do a little bit of a wing over, because that's kind of fun, especially in a prop aircraft like this. Show you the rudder authority that we have there. Very nice. Come back down, take a look at what we have wrought. So I hope you enjoyed this first look at the A-29B. I think it's a very worthwhile addition to the DCS world and to the iron bombing stable. And I'm looking forward to flying it a lot more. As always, if you're enjoying these videos, please like and subscribe to the channel. And for now, this is going to be Sidekick. Hang on.